there's a delicate balance when it comes to running, and this is what this video is about.
Most runners are getting this ratio completely wrong, and it's the number one reason they're not getting faster. Keep getting injured or feel stuck. If this is you, it's not your shoes, it's not your watch, and it's not your age. It's this. Most runners struggle with progress, injuries, burnout, because they're getting one key ratio wrong, just like I did. And I wanted to share and break down the ratios that matter most for runners and how to fix them. And I have to start with the 80-20 running ratio, easy versus hard, because I think this is where people struggle the most when it comes to running. Hey, my name's David and I'm the Plant Powered Runner. I've been running for at least a decade now, and I've learned a lot over the years, specifically maffetone training, like AKA slow running to build your aerobic base. And I've run a number of marathons. I've failed at a number of runs. I've run an ultra marathon. I've done quite a bit, and on this YouTube channel I've talked about all of my experiences when it comes to running. The one caveat is I'm not a running coach, and to be quite honest, I'm not a running physiologist or doctor or any of those things. I'm a runner, just experimenting and trying to get better as I get older. 80% of your weekly mileage should be at an easy conversational pace, zone 2, maffetone zone, and only about 20% should be moderate to hard tempos, intervals, and threshold runs. This is the things I've learned over these years, and what most runners do is they actually flip the script. They run 80% way too hard and only 20% easy. And why this is wrong is, from my experiences, too much hard running causes injuries, burnout, and plateaus. So here's the thing, why that ratio works. Easy running builds your aerobic base. It improves fat burning. It strengthens tendons and ligaments, and it makes 20% of the hard runs and the hard work much more effective at the end of the day. Look, we don't want to get injured. As a runner, we want to be on the trail. We want to be on the trail. We want to be running. We don't want to be injured. We don't want to have to start that cycle all over again. However, my next point leads into the other problem with us runners. You see, when you're a runner, all you want to do is run. But there are other things that you need to do to support your running. And that is strength training. It's important because if you don't work on your hips, your glutes, your core, ligament, these are just some of the things, right? There's much more, right? Your lats, your calves. These are all muscles that you're going to use when you run. And if they're not strong, you will find yourself in the injury box at some point, because without these muscles, these things are holding you up. And as we age, our muscle starts to diminish, deteriorate, disappear. So super important to at least get in the gym twice a week. Look, even if it's for half an hour, right? But we as runners, we ignore it. And we're like, yeah, you know what? I only have so much time in the day, so I'm just gonna run. And then when they just run, a lot of times an injury comes along, and then they're like, oh, I should have been working on strength. It supports the running, right? Running to recovery ratio is something else that is really important for a runner, because if you don't get it right, it also leads to injuries. So what I mean by that is, look, you got to at least take one day off from running. Because if you're working out, let's say 4 days running, 2-day workout, you got 1 day rest day in there, there's your 7 days, right? Or you could go on a 10-day cycle It all depends on, the type of runner you are, what type of runner, how much experience you have running. I like one day. However, over the last little while, I've been doing a heck of a lot more than just one day. But I'm working my way back. But all of these things I talk about, again, it's they don't teach you in school because there is no running school. And I know I keep talking about that in the last couple of videos of mine, but it's true, right? You got to hire a coach, or you watch YouTube videos. Like, what are you getting in school, right? You don't learn all this stuff, right? Unless you're going to be an Olympian, but then there's problems with becoming an Olympian, right? You get all the doping tests that goes on, and all the cheating that goes on. It's crazy what people put their bodies through to be able to make it. That's not for me, right? Like, obviously, I'm an older runner. I'm not going anywhere near any of those things, right? But still, we just got to be able to rinse and repeat. Get out and run, fuel our bodies, and sleeping 8 to 9 hours, a night is optimal. But maybe not. Maybe you've got family obligations, right? Because you got kids. Maybe you've got a boss who, expects you to put in long hours for little pay. So you're frustrated, right? You get mad, you get stressed, heart rate shoots up. Going out for a run is not fun because, building your aerobic base takes time. And if all these things are crashing down on you, right? People go, oh, I got to run fast. Look, there's a time and a place to run fast. But being a runner, the majority of your time, you're building an aerobic base. You're running slow. That's just what it is. It's not sexy. It's the mundane. It's the rinse and repeat attitude, right? Yeah, it helps your mental health, right? Running fast works well when you need to start training those fast twitch muscle fibers. Yes, you can lose weight, right? If you're doing, these speed sessions. But how many of those speed sessions can you do and keep out of the injury box? Because then you got to start all over again if you get injured. And that makes it even harder. It's endless. Okay, so I'm on this trail and it's pretty cool. But I can't believe how much water has disappeared from this section. Like, it's like marshland now. It used to be a big, huge inland pond. But there's nothing out here. Like, it's just marshy, right? Stagnant water in there. It's just, that's why there's a lot of dead trees in here, right? Because a lot of them they're submerged. Or there was maybe a fire at one time. I don't really know. All I know is ever since I've been running here, they've been dead. So what is going on up ahead? Okay. Seriously, I'm going to film all of this for you so you can see. The next one is carbs versus fat fueling ratio. There's a lot to kind of digest about that because it's a very controversial topic, but at low intensities, your body should mostly burn fat for fuel, and at higher intensities, carbs are going to pretty much dominate. But what most runners don't do is they always train too fast, always burning carbs, constantly refueling. There's bonking that happens, and they also gain weight. And I'm one of those guys, right? It happens. And why it's wrong is it prevents fat adaptation and it limits endurance and it makes racing harder, right? Like getting the right ratio is like training in zone 2, helping shift the balance so you burn more fat at faster paces because you've built your aerobic base to be able to run faster, but you're still in your aerobic zone. It's a fabulous thing. It's a fabulous way to do it.
I never understood a word they said. Kept running in the woods alone instead. Somewhere, somehow, I guess I lost it all. Try to keep it up and standing tall. Why don't you stay, stay, 'cause I could really use a friend. Stay, please stay, 'cause my heart really needs a man. Somewhere, somehow, I guess I lost it all. Stay, stay here with me. I'm trying to make it up for my mistakes, but everywhere I turn some hearts will break. Some